I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. Summary. In the memoir I'm Glad My Mom Died, writer and former actress, Jennette McCurdy candidly and movingly details her childhood as a child star, her relationship with her violent mother, and her long road to recovery. McCurdy wanted control over her own life, not her mother's, the casting directors, the agents, or her eating disorders. Hers. Jennette McCurdy was a popular children's TV personality in the late 2000s. As one of the three main characters in Nickelodeon's iCarly, McCurdy also appeared in the spin-off series Sam Cat with rising music star Ariana Grande. Behind the scenes, though, McCurdy battled a number of eating disorders as well as a tense relationship with her controlling mother. McCurdy recounts it all in I'm Glad My Mom Died for the first time, from her early acting on her mother's orders to the abuse that defined her adolescence. Through sharing her experience, McCurdy gives abuse victims hope and demonstrates that it is possible to recover from trauma and create a contented, stable life. Jennette McCurdy's mother coerced her into acting when she was a very young girl. She was born in Garden Grove, California, in 1992 to a low-income household. Deborah McCurdy, who was controlling and erupted into hysterics if she didn't get her way, homeschooled McCurdy and her three older brothers. Throughout her upbringing, McCurdy devoted herself to controlling her mother's emotions because she felt under pressure to do so at any cost. Deborah's lifelong ambition was to become an actor. She decided to live through her daughter because she was never able to realize her dream. McCurdy's mother found her an agent when she was 6 years old and started taking her to auditions. McCurdy disliked performing and was bashful, but she was afraid of upsetting her mother if she told her the truth. McCurdy felt enormous pressure to perform and behave in accordance with her mother's severe rules, who always provided strict directions before auditions. I'm happy Mom gets to watch me act, which is what she wanted. But it makes me feel more stressed. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see her emotions and feel how she is judging me. It's challenging to perform while juggling Mom's sideline coaching. According to McCurdy, she started out in supporting roles before getting her first on-screen appearance in an episode of The X-Files. McCurdy eventually advanced to appearing in supporting roles on programs like Malcolm in the Middle. McCurdy found the long days on set to be draining and stressful, but she found it difficult to talk to her mother about these issues without upsetting her, so she felt forced to carry on with her acting career. Ultimately, McCurdy was chosen for the role of Sam Puckett on the Nickelodeon program iCarly, which came to characterize her in the public eye. Jennette McCurdy endured terrible abuse from her mother as well as subsequently from TV professionals. Jennette McCurdy's mother mistreated her and her brothers all through her childhood. Deborah McCurdy insisted on wiping McCurdy after using the restroom until she was 8 years old and wouldn't let her kids take a shower without her until they were well into their teens. McCurdy's mother wished for her to always be tiny and childlike. In order to stop McCurdy's body from developing further as she entered puberty, her mother put her on a low-calorie diet and weighed her every week to monitor her growth. McCurdy turned to severe diets to appease her mother because she felt terrible about growing up. McCurdy learned unhealthy food lessons from dieting, and by the time she was a teenager, her disordered eating patterns had transformed into anorexia. McCurdy joined iCarly when she was 14 and worked with a producer she exclusively refers to as the creator. The creator was known for having a short fuse and being in charge. The creator coerced McCurdy into consuming alcohol against her will at private dinners. The creator requested that McCurdy be photographed on one occasion wearing a bikini, so the Nickelodeon wardrobe staff obliged. McCurdy was ill-prepared to deal with the creator's actions since her mother had taught her not to say back to grown-ups in order to avoid losing roles for being difficult. McCurdy felt the same way she had around her mother when she was with the creator, on edge, anxious to please, and scared of stepping out of line. She would become too overwhelmed if they were both there in the same space. On-set allegations of emotional abuse by the creator surfaced while McCurdy was filming the Nickelodeon spin-off series Sam Cat, which also features Ariana Grande. Nickelodeon offered McCurdy $300,000 to never speak about her experiences with the creator after the spin-off was later cancelled, but she declined the offer. Childhood trauma for Jennette McCurdy resulted in severe mental health problems, but therapy has enabled her to recover. McCurdy suffered from maltreatment and was coerced into a career she didn't want at an early age. Obsessive-compulsive disorder and ritualistic behavior that progressively revolved around eating were ingrained in McCurdy as a child. McCurdy's childhood anorexia later transformed into a binge-eating condition. When she was 21 years old, her mother died from cancer, and her binging episodes turned into purging and bulimia. McCurdy's mental health problems were hurting her emotionally and physically. Her periods stopped, frequent vomiting caused her throat to hemorrhage, and she even lost a tooth as a result. McCurdy tried to hide her eating disorders and the terrible humiliation she felt about them by engaging in binge drinking. She developed a deep depression and had suicidal thoughts. McCurdy was eventually persuaded to go to therapy, where she discovered how detrimental her mother's actions had been. Processing her trauma required McCurdy to admit that her acting was a continuation of her mother's abuse, and her initial short hiatus from acting quickly turned into a permanent one. Since she has always favored writing over performing, McCurdy now works as a writer. The Wall Street Journal and the Huffington Post have both featured some of her pieces. McCurdy's experiences have been helped through therapy. She still periodically reverts to unhealthy habits, but she is now aware of ways to stop mental health problems from getting out of hand. McCurdy's ability to heal has been made possible by giving up acting, going to treatment, and writing about her experience. In addition to grieving over her mother's passing, she is also dealing with the loss of childhood, adolescence, and young adulthood. She felt she had never completely been able to live for herself. Although challenging, she takes delight in the kind of challenge it presents. Jennette McCurdy was abused throughout her upbringing and forced into acting at a young age. Despite the damage to her physical and mental health, McCurdy found that therapy was helpful in processing her experiences. No matter what you have been through, her story demonstrates that it is possible to recover and transform into a healthy version of yourself.